then if we continue this average, we'll end up selling like 132 complete pairs of glasses. And to give you that perspective, on average per month in 2024, we sold like 42 complete pairs per month. If you take those numbers and extrapolate that into monthly, what that means is we're on pace to do 90 more pairs of glasses in January than we did on average every month in 2024. So I'm really optimistic. I'm really excited. When I look at our costs, that's something that we're going to have to reflect more on, but what are we going to actually put in the bank? I'm a little less concerned about that right now because I need to make room for going deeper in brands. The second thing that we're planning on doing is the second thing we're planning on doing in the future is what we've seen to capture. Hello and welcome to the Chris Wolfe Podcast on iCode Media. Today, what I want to do is talking about reviving my optical. Over the last 3 months or so, actually, it really started back in 2023, and I'll share this in a second, but really over the last 3 months, we've become laser focused on what the future of our practice will look like. I want to take you through some of that focus to sort of tell you about some wins and some really big challenges that we faced in our practice. So please enjoy this monologue. As always, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, share it with your friends, and support those who support us. The most common questions I get include, what ophthalmological codes or evaluation and management codes should I use? What ICD-10 codes do I need to bill with this CPT code? What CPT codes can be billed together and what can't? And my favorite, how do I manage a patient who has diabetes who comes in for a quote-unquote routine eye exam? These questions really highlight the confusion and uncertainty that serves as a daunting hurdle for providers, makes it more challenging for them to care for their patients and provide those patients with the best opportunity for a lifetime of ocular health and clear vision. That's why we built iCode Education for this specific purpose. Our mission is to provide optometrists with resources to help you understand disease states, revenue cycles, and billing and coding so that you can put that on autopilot and truly care for your patients. Check out iCodeEducation.com. That's EYECODE education.com. We've developed a premier billing and coding bundle that includes all of our billing and coding resources in one place. We also have a 10% discount code just for listeners of this podcast. Enter the coupon code EYECODEMEDIA22 at checkout. We'd love to work with you. Check out iCodeEducation.com. Hello, dedicated optometrists. Are you looking for a way to support your patient's vision and overall eye health? Let me introduce you to Vision Edge Pro, a visual performance supplement that stands out in our profession. Vision Edge Pro contains a balanced blend of mesozeaxanthine, lutein, and zeaxanthine in a 10-10-2 ratio. This combination has been scientifically shown to increase macular pigment density, which enhances visual performance, including contrast sensitivity and vision in glare situations. Additionally, Vision Edge Pro provides 300 milligrams of DHA and EPA, fulfilling the daily requirements for omega-3s as recognized by the leading health organizations. This ensures your patients receive the essential nutrients their eyes need for optimal health. Whether it's for everyday screen use, night driving, or enjoying the outdoors, Vision Edge Pro supports your patients in seeing their best. Recommend Vision Edge Pro for your patients today and help them achieve clearer, healthier vision. Contact your local MacuHealth representative for more details. Vision Edge Pro, because your patients deserve the best in eye health. Go to MacuHealth.com and use the coupon code PODCAST2024 at checkout for special discounts. So let me take you back. I've got some notes here, but I wanted to take you back and sort of give you a perspective of where my brain has been over the last 3 months, really intently, but also really starting back in 2023. So you've heard Alex Martin on the podcast. If you don't know who Alex Martin is, he practices in North Carolina, and he has really become a wonk on thinking about our opticals as retail spots. And so Alex has a program on iCode that you can take to kind of work through some of the steps that I'm talking about. We started initially, before we actually were able to launch that program on iCode, we had Alex do some analysis in our practice, and we identified some of these areas that we were thinking we needed to change. And primarily it was we were way overstocked on frames. And so in our office, we worked to try to whittle down some of those frames that we had, but we weren't very intent on it over the course of 2024. We didn't have a really good method. In fact, we didn't apply COS, Comprehensive Optometry Simplified principles, to that method. We knew we could, but we just didn't really focus on it a whole bunch. And so, so if you've heard me talk on the podcast, we are building a new location so that our current location, I'm not building a second location. My current location is going to move into a new building. So I've shared a little bit of that, and I'm going to probably have some of my partners in the building. One's an orthodontist, one's a dentist. They're moving their practices into the building as well. Probably over time, talk about the process. It's been a lot of fun, but in doing that, we're designing a new space, and in that new space, we're going to dedicate a not insignificant portion of that space into the optical. And so we've really forced ourselves to reflect on what is our optical doing as far as business, and is our optical actually generating revenue that we would expect it to generate. So I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of data in our practice. But Alex Martin was the kind of stimulation point for what we were doing. So if you've heard me talk, you know that I'm heavily focused on comprehensive eye care. And what I have always discussed is that comprehensive eye care includes both the management of chronic eye diseases as well as providing comprehensive eye exams to patients and refractions, and allowing those patients to purchase glasses through your practice. And Kyle Clutie and I have discussed this at length, in that we don't believe that it's either one or the other. But what I was finding was, as I dive deeper into disease management, I was looking at our optical less and less intently with the same eye. I was kind of having a blind spot to it, even knowing and admitting that we've got to do both. And so when I analyze the data, I want to share a couple things with you. The first one is that I'll take a step back. People ask me all the time, if I see patients, and yes, I see patients. I love to see patients. I own a practice. I love owning the practice. I think there's a couple things that say, well, aren't you too busy to do other things? And the answer is, probably a lot of business people would say I should probably stop seeing patients and just run the businesses. But I will tell you that it's really important to me to know what it's like to go through the grind of seeing patients every single day, having patients be disrespectful to your staff, having patients get upset about bills, having patients not want to pay for things that they owe you money for. And then working through stuff like this, I think, gives me perspective that is valuable, one, to my patient. And I mean, just outside of the fact that I just love seeing patients, I think I can't abandon them, and I don't want to. But outside of that, just those kind of things that come within the grind of owning a practice and being in clinic all day long, that gives me perspective. And I think that perspective is really valuable to our iCode clients. I've been told that by many of them. Maybe it's not that valuable, but I believe it still is. And so that's why I want to cover some of this stuff with you. So I will get real with some of the numbers. They are not shiny. They don't look good. They don't make me look good. So I'll talk about that. So first of all, within Comprehensive Optometry Simplified, what we always have you start out with is analyzing your data. How do we know what changes we need to make, and if we make those changes, how they're going to impact us? So we usually apply that to concepts related to management of chronic ocular diseases as well as acute ocular diseases, but you can apply it to the optical. And this is what Kyle and I have been saying for years, is that you can apply these same principles to your contact lens business, to your optical business. And so to give you a perspective, in our optical in 2023, we had sold 630 frames in 2023. In 2024, we were down to 515 complete pairs of frames sold in 2024. We had declined by about 115 pairs. Now, our revenue as a practice, our net revenue, what we put in the before we paid everybody out, right? Cost of goods, eliminate. So before we did any of that, just our net collected revenue was essentially exactly the same in 2024 as it was in 2023. So what that tells me is we were either selling more expensive pairs of glasses, or we were providing more care that was beyond just comprehensive care. So we were performing more procedures, we were managing more chronic diseases, those sorts of things. So, so the fact that we were, our net revenue was the same on less sales of frames shows you that we were focused on other areas. And I'll tell you that by and large, so just give you a perspective, in 2024, our net collected revenue from the sale of glasses and contact, from the sale of frames, okay, so of complete frames, was about 25, a little less than 25% of our total revenue for the year. It's me and Dr. Lindsay. We see 7 doctor days. So I see patients 3 days a week. She sees patients 4 days a week. We overlap on 2 days. So she's there on Tuesday and I'm there on Tuesday. She's there on Wednesday. I'm there on Wednesday. So that's the way our practice is set up. I'm there by myself on Monday, and then Dr. Lindsay is there on Thursday and Friday by herself. We're going to be adding another doctor in the next month or so. So we're going to expand on that, actually the next couple months, but we're going to expand on that. All right, so to give you another perspective is we have gotten in the habit as an optical of having a very high transaction or high dollar value per complete frame sale. So our average was about $1,000 a pair. So if we were selling a pair of glasses, it was about $1,000. I'm taking no pride in this, by the way. The reason I tell you that is that we have essentially priced ourselves out of the market. What we have done, and this is only in reflection, right? And this is my problem. It was my responsibility. But what we have done as a practice is we had sort of said, okay, well, we're going to offer this really wide variety of frame price points, but where we will not offer price point variation is lenses. So we were focused on ultra premium lenses to give a patient the best visual experience that they possibly can have, but they would have only options in terms of controlling cost in our office purely with the frame selection that we would have. And so what we were finding is that the patients who wanted to buy nice lenses also wanted to buy nice frames. And so our more value frames, which are still good quality, you can get good quality value-based frames, we're just not selling. We would have never known this, but we sort of accepted this. We accepted the idea that, listen, if you want less customized lenses, then we're not the place for you. And I think that was probably the wrong decision. In fact, I know it was the wrong decision in hindsight. And after this, just reflecting on what's gone on so far this month in our practice, which I'm going to share with you, that was the wrong decision. And it was the wrong decision because we were eliminating patients who would have been happy to purchase from us, but they just didn't see us as an opportunity to get something that would match their pocketbook in every case. And so what we worked through was, okay, first, how many brands do we have and how many pairs of frames do we have? So just to give you some perspective, we had 963 pairs of frames in our office that we could sell. And with that inventory, if you look at Alex Martin's numbers, his KPIs, our turn rate should have been 2.5 times, which would mean we should have sold 2,400 pairs of glasses every year to justify that many pairs of frames that we could display in our office. Okay. So again, this is messy. We're not doing a good job. So because we had accepted that and because we wanted to try to get stuff for more people, we sort of expanded into a significant number of brands. We weren't really putting a leash on when we would expand. We just sort of, people would like this frame line and we'll bring that brand in. But what we wound up having over the years, because we weren't selling through enough, is we had 63 brands in our practice. And so that's way too many. If you listen to what Alex Martin says, and I think you could probably have more, you could probably have less, but he says the sweet spot in retail is 20 to 25 brands in your practice that would allow you to sell, to show those brands broadly and deeply. Now, I know many of you listening are probably like, yeah, Chris, great. You're with the show. I get that, right? I'm just sharing how this has impacted our practice and what kinds of things that we think through in our practice as well. So 63 brands, if we're trying to whittle that down to 25, right? That's a massive undertaking. And what we found, so what we did was we did a brand map. So we wanted to see where are our brands and where are they overlapping, where we're not selling things or we don't have a huge amount of that brand in to display it very well. And so we identified basically like 500 frames in our practice that we've got to get rid of. And we've got to get rid of it to allow us to go deeper and broader with the brands that we love. And most importantly, from a patient perspective, like it's not just about us selling glasses, but we want to deliver a patient a really great experience. And what we used to do, what my parents' legacy in the practice before, when my mom and dad were just my mom and dad, they called it exclusively eye care because they wanted to have, they wanted to be able to dedicate really great experience to our patients. And we're still doing that in most cases, but we weren't doing it with the optical because we weren't even giving the patient the option to have the experience in the first place. And so, if you've listened to the podcast, besides Alex Martin, over the last 3 months, we've really dug into, I talked to Jennifer Stewart as well. And she's talking about how do we tell the stories of the brands that we sell in our practices. So she's really good about talking about the hinges and her practice is really dedicated to knowing the story of the brand. We can't do that with 63 brands. So we recognized that and we said, okay, we got to get rid of these brands to whittle it down. There's 500 frames in our office and many of these frames we've had for years. They're not going anywhere. We've already spent money on the frame. We've effectively lost money on the frame. And so if you listen back to the podcast that we did last year with Alex Martin, he said, Chris, you're going to have to get radical. You're going to have to find ways to unload those frames so that you can bring more frames into your practice. And so there, as an aside, we stopped edging in our practice. So we've stopped in-house edging. And to give you some perspective here, I actually in high school and college, I would come in after school. And I would edge jobs. So I actually was trained on how to edge jobs with an old pattern edger and then do the grooving myself. And with both the lens grooved and the device grooved, and you'd sort of eke down that circumference so that you could fit it in the frame. And so like that was an art that I knew how to do, but we got rid of it because what we were finding is that at the time when we got rid of it, the cost per job to edge was like $7. So if we broke one, let's say we're using an ultra premium lens design, and let's say our cost on that was $280, we'll just say. If we broke one job, we'll lose every bit of benefit that we got from edging in-house really quickly. And so we just said, okay, we're doing a lot of these ultra premium. We were focused at the time. Our numbers of optical sales at the time were still really high. I think we're probably closer to the 800-900 complete pairs per year in our practice. And now it costs us about $35 to edge at the lab to edge out of house, right? So that's kind of our next step in the project. I'll come back to that on a future episode of bringing edging back into the practice, which we will do. And I've been already talking to colleagues like Bob Steinmetz about this. I texted him. I said, we got to do this right now, Bob. What do I do? And so he's already given me a plan, and I'm going to reflect on that plan again if you're in the same situation that we are. But the bottom line is our costs of outsourcing that finishing work has escalated significantly, and we have people in our practice that have time to do this.
CooperVision and the AOA have joined forces in a groundbreaking initiative to transform how optometrists treat children with myopia. The Myopia Collective aims to unite our profession and its allies to challenge the status quo and elevate the standard of care for children with myopia. Everyone is invited to become a member of the collective. By joining, you pledge to act in slowing childhood myopia progression. Membership includes regular updates and information about the collective's efforts, access to educational opportunities and resources, and insights from the ambassador optometrists who advocate for community policy and changes supporting the collective's mission. Click the link in the show notes to join the collective today. We've been partnering with EssilorLuxottica 360 for a while now, and it helps us in 3 areas. First, they use social media campaigns to highlight products that we believe in and prescribe to our patients, and they deliver those patients back to our practice. Second, EssilorLuxottica 360 enhances our patient experience through staff training tools that help us simplify and streamline the way we communicate about our products and services. Lastly, but for my practice most importantly, it helps us make good business decisions related to our optical offerings. We will systematically and objectively analyze what our patients are purchasing and what they like, and removing products that our patients are not really using or not really drawn to. This, along with additional rebates and immediate savings, helps us continue to deliver high-quality products and services to our patients and keeps our practice resilient. Check out EssilorLuxottica 360 for yourself by visiting EssilorLuxottica360.com.
And so we can absolutely do this. So what do? How do we get radical? Well, first of all, we worked with our partnerships within Vision Source to say we need an option to get patients in to clearance these lenses that is a single vision option and a progressive option. It has to be good quality. We won't tolerate bad quality. It has to be AR, and we have to have a progressive option that doesn't have to be ultra premium, but it has to be something that most patients will adapt to well, and they will have a good visual experience with. And we have to do that at a price point where we can offload these glasses and give an option to offload these glasses really effective. And just to give you, I won't talk about the dollars here, but think Warby Parker single vision complete pair and Warby Parker progressive complete pair with AR, right? That is our baseline for all of these. So you have a single vision option and you have a progressive option. And so that's what we have been presenting to patients. I'll give you the summary of our steps in just a second, but we now have that. So the patient has an option to say, I can get a very cost-effective, great value frame. And actually, in many cases, they're great designer frames that we just haven't been able to move. They're kind of what Alex Martin would describe as maybe the JV team or the B team of the frame line. And so we have a way to get them as a single vision. So they have an option to say, wow, I can get this complete package at a single vision, or I can get a progressive. But they also have the option to upgrade for our usual and customary fee if they want to have the better lens option. So we make that available to them. So last week we launched this. So as of the recording of this, it was 5 days ago that we launched this within our practice, and so we had 10 business days in January before the launch and 5 business days in January after the launch. So I want to reflect on what we did before. Now we're just only 5 days in, right? So I'm going to update you in the next couple months about how this continues to go. I have a goal of getting rid of these 500 frames before we move into the new practice. And so that's really aggressive. So what we did, we used Aaron Warner's principle of setting a daily goal. Okay, so Aaron's principle, and we work through this within COS as well, is, okay, how many frames do I need to get rid of? Our goal for the quarter was 360. Of those 500 frames, I want to get rid of 360 frames in our office. That, if you track out how many days we have in the quarter, that's 6 frames a day. Okay, so that was a goal. We communicated that to our team. It took us to sort of build this with our team, run through the whole COS program with our team. To get up and running in the beginning of the year, it took us basically the first 10 business days of the year to get where we were ready, to design the packages, to kind of whittle through how we're going to price them, how we're going to talk to patients about them, which is all steps within COS. Okay, so first 10 business days of January, we sold 35 pairs of glasses. 35 pairs, that's 3.5 pairs per day. In the last 5 days since we implemented this sale, we've sold 41 pairs of glasses. Okay, so for some of you, you're thinking not that big of a deal. Okay, But 41 pairs of glasses in 5 days of those. So the question is, are we cannibalizing the patients who would have purchased sort of non-clearanced items with their normal, sort of premium products that we would use? The answer is really no. And here's how we know. Okay, 19 of those 41 pairs were clearance glasses. Okay, so they were already clearance, they got the deal. But 25% of those patients who purchased the clearance glasses upgraded to premium lenses. Okay, so that's not insignificant. But then we would also that's basically a total number of glasses per day of 8 frames per day. Now, mind you, we were barely in 2024. We were barely tracking at 2 per day. We'd be between 2 and 3 pairs per day. So we're at 8 right now in the last 5 days. But the first 10 days, we're at 3.5 pairs. So we're definitely better. But we didn't cannibalize those people who wanted the more premium products and frame brands that we were going to hold on to that were newer, showed better, etc. Because we sold 4.4 of those normal, quote unquote, complete pairs. So we were at 3.5. Now we're at 4.4. So let me take a step back and give you a little bit more perspective of our practice. I do see a lot of ocular disease in our practice. Between Dr. Lindsay and I, we probably perform on average for those 7 doctor days a week about 15 refractions per day total to between both of us. Okay, so I should say this a different way. Of the 5 days that we're there per week, on average, there's 15 refractions being done per day. Okay, so there's more refractions obviously on the days where the two of us are together, but then we're also doing a whole lot of other comprehensive care services that are not comprehensive exams and refractions. So ocular surface disease management, glaucoma management, AMD management, those sorts of things. So now we have another 7 days of the month, and if we continue this average, we'll end up selling like 132 complete pairs of glasses. And to give you that perspective, on average per month in 2024, we sold like 42 complete pairs per month. If you take those numbers and extrapolate that into monthly, what that means is we're on pace to do 90 more pairs of glasses in January than we did on average every month in 2024. So I'm really optimistic. I'm really excited when I look at our costs. That's something that we're going to have to reflect more on. But what are we going to actually put in the bank? I'm a little less concerned about that right now because I need to make room for going deeper in brands. The second thing that we're planning on doing is the second thing we're planning on doing in the future is what we've seemed to capture, because we've never been able to actually run sales in the practice before. Second pair discounts of 50% never moved our staff, and it never moved our patients. Free second pair of frames never moved. Free lenses, second pair, never moved anything. So we've sort of captured something, and I'll talk about a few things as far as a take home, and we're going to talk about how we're going to extrapolate this into the future to always have something that allows patients to have something of very good value, right? That allows them to see us as competitive if they want us to be competitive with a big box retailer or another retailer that is a discounter perhaps, but it gives them the option to continue to stay and do business with us. So the first thing is, and I hate to say it, but Lori Sorensen always says, well, what do? We can't half-ass a whole bunch of things. We need to whole-ass one thing. So we have been whole-ass in this thing all of January and December, kind of leading up to this, right? December and January leading up to this, we've been whole ass in this one thing, okay? The other take home is many of our patients viewed us as too expensive over the years, not because we didn't have competitive frame lines, but because we weren't allowing them to choose options in the lenses that could be more cost effective for their budget, okay? So they were seeing us as too expensive. We needed an entry package that some patients could choose to do business with us at a high value, so that we weren't just completely giving away that care and away that service. The other thing is, and that allows me to project into the future, is that in the future we're going to have those packages that are really great values, and that's what will, in-office edging. So if you want a single vision poly with AR, we could even use better AR with our relationship with Envision Source. I can give that to you and almost bundle the package so that we're still making a nice profit as a practice, but we're also delivering, and primarily we're delivering a service that the patient wants that's also good quality and probably better quality, at least as good, if not better, than what they can get in any of the big box retailers. So we're not abdicating that business anymore, and we're going to figure out a way that we can continue to do this. And we don't have to be everything to every patient, but where it matters for patients, we can absolutely serve them. And that's part of Comprehensive Optometry Simplified, is being able to serve our patients in all of those realms. Okay. So I think the other take home is we were seeing that we were selling a lot of our premium frame lines. We got a lot of those premium frame lines, but we weren't selling the kind of more value frame lines. And the reason wasn't because the value frame lines weren't competitive outside, it's because our lenses weren't competitive. The last thing was we made sure, and we have to continue to do this, is that we worked on our communication. We had consistent touch points. Kyle Clutie has talked about not setting goals, right, that only one part of your team needs to be able to achieve, right? COS is about the entire practice. Comprehensive Optometry Simplified is about the entire practice focused on those tasks and the communication of those tasks. So we applied our COS 5 steps into this. And one of those steps was to have consistent communication across the board on purpose. So what did we do? Well, at the front desk, we have it's a very nice looking, and all of our dispensing tables, a nice looking display of the packages, right? Of the clearance sale. It says moving sale. And our front desk, Kelly, does not say anything about it. It's just right there when the patient walks in, and they're greeted by that, essentially, if they choose to look at it. Okay. And it talks about those different packages. It talks about the prices. It talks about the fact that we're moving, which we want our patients to know anyway. And then the next touch point we decided was to make it very simple and not salesy at all, but for our techs to genuinely be excited. And when they're leaving the exam room before the doctor comes in, they make this statement that make sure you check out some of the moving sale. We've got some really great frames at a significant value. So we worked on that. What does it sound like? How does it sound like to feel? Hey, we've got some awesome frames out front for our moving sale. It's a great value. You should check it out. If you need a backup pair, or you need a pair of sunglasses, you should totally check it out, right? So we made that part of the process. The techs were going to do that. Obviously, the doctors are going to do the normal things that the doctors would do, but we're going to highlight when a patient does bring up something else. And this would be a great opportunity for when we do that handoff. Hey, so-and-so needs a second pair for this, or they need a backup for that, or they need new glasses. They haven't gotten new glasses any time for a long time. Check out, we've got a lot of great value options. And then that handoff, those patients have been primed 3 or 4 times before they get to the optician. And I think that's making the difference as well. The optician has an ability to find something that's matching the patient's budget, but also matching their style. And so you got to stay tuned. I know that was a lot. Sorry to bear that with you. I'm really excited about it. It's only 5 days in, and I know it could go sideways. It probably will. In fact, we're planning for it to go sideways. And so we've got plans in place to continue to touch, to continue to check in with our team on a daily basis, as well as going deeper every week as part of COS, right? So we have kind of daily huddles, we have weekly meetings, and then we'll also have quarterly deep dives. So hopefully at the end of this quarter, we'll have gotten through 360. We'll have 140 left, and we can take the next steps in Alex Martin's advocacy, and the course that he brings is to really take the second quarter, because we're going to be moving into the new space in quarter 3 of 2025, is to actually think through what are the brands that we're going to tell the stories on, that we want to go deeper and broader. So the rest of this quarter, I'll probably give you a few updates. Hope this was helpful in terms of how would we think about taking something in our practice that isn't doing well. Ours was not doing well. And I will tell you, we still haven't turned the corner, but I think we've got a path that allows us to turn the corner. If we continue down this path, we'll basically projected to sell something like, I don't know, if we keep this up, it'll be something like 1,400 pairs of glasses this year compared to 515. So you got excitement in me. And I think we've got a path to make this simpler for our patients, primarily to serve them. And I'm disappointed in myself. I was not serving them in a complete way for the last year to 2 years. And now I'm excited because we can serve our patients better. We can give them products. We can troubleshoot products. We can know that we're giving them optical centers that are aligning, and that we can be responsible and to our patients for all of those services. So I hope this was helpful. Please share, subscribe, send it to other people. If this motivated you, please reach out to us and tell us. If this was too basic, let me know. I'd love to hear that too. It's been helpful for me to go through this process. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and our YouTube channel, both linked in the show notes. Now, here's something exciting. We're giving away a 1-year subscription to Comprehensive Optometry Simplified. All you have to do is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, take a screenshot, and email it to me at questions@icodeeducation.com. We'll put that in the show notes as well. We'll be selecting a winner on December 15th, so don't miss your chance to get access to this valuable resource. Thanks again for listening. I can't wait to see your reviews.